The Northern Cape Department of Education is hosting a two-day teacher reading Indaba in Kimberley. The Indaba follows alarming results by the Progress in International Reading Literacy study that shows a high percentage of grade 4 learners who still cannot read for meaning. The aim of the Indaba is to equip teachers with efficient skills to help struggling learners, teaching educators phonics, comprehension, fluency and vocabulary. That's the strategy of the department in arresting the current reading crisis across the province. Delegates currently attending the Reading Indaba have admitted that the country continues to face a reading problem. The study, released by Progress in International Literacy Study in May, shows that 81% of grade 4 learners still cannot read. The report also showed a drop of 32 points in South Africa's average Progress and International Reading Literacy Study score of 288 in 2021 from 320 in 2016 in reading ability. The Northern Cape dropped by 22 points from 306 in 2016 to 284 in 2021.
We do a couple of modules that are based on the curriculum, that are based on the things that teachers do on a daily basis. But we bring in obviously theory and link it into how does then this looks like into the classroom. So that's one of the ways in which we could develop teachers' content knowledge, is to really focus more on nailing how does reading develops.
For more on this, we're now joined by the Northern Cape Department of Education MEC, Zolile Monakali, and he joins us via our video link. MEC, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. I mean, your province hosted the Teacher Indaba. Perhaps if you maybe can just tell us, I mean, we've seen that there is a huge crisis in this country when it comes to reading for meaning, especially for grade 4 learners. How important is this Indaba to your province?
Good evening to your viewers and good evening to yourself. This Indaba that we have convened on the 3rd of September is very important, as you have already illustrated that the outcomes of the PIRLS progress report has indicated the deficiencies in the reading capacity of our learners, our grade 4 learners, where we have seen an 81% of the learners in grade 4 countrywide who cannot read with meaning. So the objective of this Indaba is basically to empower our teachers to develop strategies to make sure that they are in a position to assess our learners to read with understanding and with meaning. So it's a very important event that we are having in the Northern Cape to make sure we are addressing the deficiency of the capacity of learners to be in a better position to read with comprehension.
And 81% of those grade 4 learners who cannot read for meaning, surely this is quite alarming. You know, if we take a step back, especially with your own research and, you know, what you've observed in your province, you know, what would you think got us to this point, especially looking in the Northern Cape? Why do we see such a low rate of pupils who can read for meaning?
Definitely, it's a problem in the Northern Cape. As the country has dropped, we have also dropped with 22 points in the Northern Cape. But one of the issues is that we have been challenged by the issue of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, which had an effect on the teaching and learning time at schools. Of course, we followed a trim curriculum, and most of the time learners were staying at home. In other words, there were not sufficient time to make sure and ensure that learners are in a position to read and write. And the fact that learners stayed most of the time at home also had a detrimental effect on the attendance at school. So those factors, of course, had an impact on the capacity of the learners to read. And that is why we have decided in the Northern Cape that we cannot leave the situation, because if learners cannot read with meaning and comprehension, it means to learn and to be taught at the school will be a problem. And that will have an impact on the pass percentage and the performance of the learners at the school.
And, you know, MEC, looking into the Indaba itself, you know, what was covered in the Indaba that can be immediately, you know, implemented by your teachers who attended this conference?
We identified 200 educators across the province from all the 5 districts, and those teachers were exposed to specialists on reading and writing as well. So they were exposed to strategies how to ensure to present or assist learners to be in a position to read. They were exposed to the technology that can be made use of, all the strategies, and they have been empowered so that when they return back to schools immediately, they must be in a position to start with the program, because we are very behind with the reading capacity of our learners. So they also got materials to make sure that when they get back to school, they can use those materials immediately to make sure that they assist the learners and guide them how to read with meaning and comprehension.
And surely teachers can't do this alone. Will you also be reaching out to parents, to try and rope them in so that they can also help, their children when they come home, so that, there is some sort of reading culture, not just in the classrooms, but even at home?
That is very important, because you must remember that the primary educators of children are their parents. So we want to involve all the stakeholders, the parents, the NGOs, the religious groups, all must be part of this initiative or this intervention to make sure we assist our learners. Because learners must not only read at the school, but they must read at home. They must even have sessions at the churches where they're going to read, so that read can be fun. Parents must assist us, and if parents cannot read for the children, they can even tell the children stories, so that the children can develop that capacity to read. They must develop that love. And if the parents are reading for them, definitely they will also start to love to read, and that will assist them to widen their horizons, to understand better when they are reading. So all stakeholders are welcome. We involve parents, we involve religious groups, NGOs, civic organizations. We make a call on them. Let us assist our children so that reading cannot only be an academic process, but it must be fun. It must be something that the children enjoy. If they enjoy it, they will do it better, and they will do it more.
And what has been the response from the teachers? I mean, this was an Indaba, solely focused on them and how they can actually implement this in their classrooms. What has been the response so far from the teachers who actually attended this Indaba?
The teachers were very positive. They were very happy. Most of the teachers indicated that this is actually a long, outstanding event that should have taken place. After the event, when we engaged with one of them or two of them, they indicate that they have been empowered and they feel now they are capacitated better to go back and make sure they assist the learners to read and write. And 90% of those educators are educators from primary schools, because we want to establish the foundation from the primary school. So as they are getting to higher standards in the high school, then they must be able to read and write.
And lastly, will you be, holding this Indaba every year, to monitor the progress, or is this just a once-off for the teachers?
No, it cannot be a once-off process. We have started now, and we have convened it in Francis Bart in the Kimberley area. Our intention is now that we have got the first 200 teachers from around the province, 40 from each district. What we will do now, we will cascade this program down to the districts, where we're going to convene district Indabas, where we can get more teachers from the various districts to also capacitate them, and also to give them the necessary materials to make sure we implement it in the widest parts of the province of the Northern Cape.